I'm Ellis Martin. Join me now for a conversation with Harry Barr, the chairman and CEO of New Age Metals, trading as NAM on the TSX Venture Exchange and NMTLF in the U.S. New Age Metals Incorporated is a mineral exploration company focused on the discovery, exploration, and development of Canada's largest primary platinum group metals PGM deposit, the River Valley PGM project, located in the Sudbury region of Northern Ontario. The company also has a lithium division with 5 lithium projects, of which 3 are drill ready. The company's philosophy is to be a project generator explorer with the objective of optioning or joint venturing their projects with major and junior mining companies through to production. Harry, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having us on again, Ellis.
Well, it's been a while since we've had a chat. Why don't you update our audience as to what's going on with New Age Metals?
Well, we're moving ahead with the River Valley, which, just as a reminder to the audience, is the largest undeveloped primary platinum group metal deposit of its kind in North America, very close to the Sudbury mining district, less than about 65 miles. Sudbury is one of the major mining complexes and can take our concentrates once we get the project to production in the next couple of years. We came out with a new 43-101 resource in January that the top 2 categories had just about 2.9 million ounces of palladium equivalent, and there's another resource in the inferred. We contracted 2 companies out of Toronto, 2 engineering companies, late last fall, and they're working on our first economic study, which they now call a preliminary economic assessment. So that's, some of the readers in the U.S. may remember the name scoping study. That's essentially what that is. From there, we would do a pre-feasibility and then a feasibility in the project. So the preliminary economic assessment is to be out in June, and we're well into it. We've been several months working on it together with the 2 engineering companies we hired.
Well, that's a sizable reserve resource there that you have in the ground, reserved and inferred with regard to platinum. What do you think the market looks like right now for that particular resource? Let's talk about platinum and palladium.
Yeah, well, the primary resource there is palladium, and platinum would be second. And I don't know if any of the readers are following palladium, but it's breaking new highs almost every day. Yesterday it hit $1,600 plus. Today, it depends on when you look at whether it's June or July or August, but the bottom line is today it's trading around $1,550, which is a record. We're quite excited about the price of our palladium, and platinum is up about 9% this year, but it's traditionally used to trade above the price of gold, but it's in the $800 and some dollar range. So 82% of the use of palladium is in your auto catalysts in cars and automobiles. Seems to be tremendous demand and just a lack of supply, so that's driving the price up.
Even though you have a lithium division and a cobalt division of this company, we're not going to see the combustible engine, the gas-fueled engine, go away anytime soon globally, are we?
No, I mean, I think it's certainly going to change over time, but it's going to take 20 to 30 years, if not more, before we see the majority of the cars out there are electric as opposed to gas and diesel.
And with the price of palladium being comparable to the price of gold, I'm assuming that number, $1,500 per ounce, is Canadian, so it's very comparable to the price of gold. It has more of an industrial use. It's less speculative, more or less. So the market for it, considering its scarcity and the amount that you have, should be substantial.
Yes, I mean, there's been several reports by companies that follow the industry very closely, top analysts this year, and they're projecting the price to remain fairly constant in terms of these higher prices for the next few years. So it sure looks good for palladium. They're basically saying that platinum prices will increase too, and that's their second most important metal in the project.
What are your thoughts on lithium? And I understand that your answer is going to be biased, but we've seen some interesting swings in this sector. And by interesting, I don't mean necessarily positive, but the supply is still an issue.
I mean, if you look at over the next 10, 20, 30 years, there's going to be tremendous demand for lithium, and simply because of the electric cars and the battery storage and whatever. So there was a bit of a boom in 16 and 17 when prices were quite a lot higher. But no, I think it's a good place to be and a good metal to be looking for. And we're much less developed in terms of our River Valley project, already at a preliminary economic assessment. We're just really at the drilling stage in our lithium division. So we're a few years away from building a resource and eventually, hopefully, getting something that we have, because we have 8 projects to production. But no, I think it's a good place to be long term, and the price of lithium will certainly come back.
Now, full disclosure, as you know, and our audience may or may not know, I am a shareholder of New Age Metals, and I'm in for the long haul. I'm not a trader. What would you say to my fellow shareholders as far as the company going ahead a year or two and our positions?
It's a funny market. The junior exploration market for the people who have been following the last couple of years is certainly being hit very hard in terms of valuations. And of course, I think, as you say, most CEOs are biased, but if you look at some of these companies, especially like ours, I mean, we have a $8 million market cap and literally billions of dollars of metal in the ground. We're a long ways from getting it out, but the valuations certainly are not in sync at all. So I think in Canada, we've had a lot of our venture capital that we normally would have got, that being the junior mining sector, go into the cannabis sector. And as time goes on, I think you'll see some of that money coming back to us and valuations improving. So, in general, I think it's a very good time to be looking at the junior metal sector.
Let's review what you're doing with the lithium division right now, Harry.
We have 8 projects now. We're in the province of Manitoba, not far from the capital, Winnipeg, near a mine that's been producing from a pegmatite since 1969. We need to have a pegmatite rock. In the rock, we're looking for a spodumene, and in this spodumene, we will find our lithium. So we've had a couple major changes in the area we are. The mine that we're literally surrounded with our claims was recently bought for about $135 million by a good-sized Chinese group. There's 3 different metals that they're working on there, rare earths, and they plan to get the lithium going in their mine that's right beside it. So that's going to be good, and it may well be a source for us someday. And literally, we're joined onto the side of the mine and have 8 properties in that vicinity. So we have 2 of the properties where we're making drill applications, and we're hoping to get those applications through in the next couple of months, and we want to get out there drilling these projects.
And let's talk about Alaska, if you don't mind. I'm going back a few months. It's been a while since we've had some news there. What's happening with Alaska, if anything, coming up soon?
Alaska is a platinum group metal. It's platinum first and palladium second, and then it has some very good copper-nickel values, and it's called Genesis. We have the right to own 100% of it, just a couple more payments, and we will have it. And we are actively every day out soliciting to try and find a joint venture partner for this year to help us develop that project. So typically it takes summer to come, and some of these companies that we've been talking to get out and take a look at what we're doing. But our goal is to find a joint venture partner and joint venture that project so that we have the funding coming from a second party to further develop it. So we're working hard to find that partner now.
And I stand corrected, when we talked about palladium earlier in the show, we mentioned a price of $1,600. That is U.S., so it is above the price of gold.
That is U.S., and that's something to mention. As Canadians, there's about a 30% difference in the dollar, so we would add that on to the price of palladium. So, we'd be looking at $1,800, $1,900 for palladium in Canada. So it's a substantial price. We've never seen anything like it.
Harry, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining us today on the program.
Thanks for having us, Ellis.
I've been speaking with Harry Barr, the chairman and CEO of New Age Metals, trading as NAM on the TSX Venture Exchange and NMTLF in the U.S. For more information, go to the company's website, newagemetals.com. I'm Ellis Martin.